Hi guys, it's only me. I have just finished at the hospital where they did an excision of a piece of skin that looks a bit interesting. So they want to send that off to get checked to see whether it has anything in it. In all honesty, myself and the surgeon don't think it's anything, but because I grow things so quickly, they have to make sure that anything that shows up is checked. So I can show you what they've done. So that's what just happened, and as he was checking me over, he discovered, so it's the first time a doctor's discovered it and not me when it's a surface level thing, a nodule on my right side. And then the nurse had a feel and we all concluded that there was a very clear lump there, which wasn't there last week. So I have to come back tomorrow for a scan, which is going to be exciting, you know, come back for scanxiety, as we call it in the cancer world, you know, anxiety for a scan. And then they will, if it looks like anything, which it will, because I know myself, it's going to be biopsied, well, a fine needle aspiration, an FNA, which basically means they stick a needle in it and check what they send it off to a lab to get checked. And on the lung point, they have actually discovered 3 lesions in my lungs, 1 in one side and 2 in the other. So based on the results of today and tomorrow, we'll determine what the next steps are. Bye-bye.
Back in Hummingbird Bakery. Remember the red velvet story? We've gone for a different cake this time. Good day. Today was a crazy day that will go down in history for Helen and I. So today, obviously, I've explained I had a biopsy this morning where I had a small area removed from my right side, as I showed you. And this evening, Helen had a section of her left arm removed because it's a suspected malignant melanoma in situ, which in normal person speak is a bad skin cancer. It's the worst skin cancer you can get, and she's had it several times before. Unfortunately, they've got on top of it and dealt with it, and she hasn't had a recurrence in a few years, but they're checking this one just to make sure what it is. So fingers crossed for some negative results in a few weeks. We don't want positive results because positive means there is cancer. We don't want that. It was very strange to have the gown on the other person today, so seeing Helen in a hospital gown, when we've got so used to in recent times me being the one in the gown. So it was odd, but yes, fingers crossed that is a short-lived thing. So very long day today, and back in the morning to the hospital, and it's a full-time job. I keep saying this, it's a full-time job. When people ask me what I do, I'm like, I have cancer. This is not, it's a job in itself when you go in and they say come back tomorrow. It was an interesting conversation with the doctor and how impressive he thinks my growth rate is. I don't think he's seen such rapid tumour growth before, and I'm definitely the patient he sees most frequently. He is a registrar doctor, so he is a surgeon, but he's more junior than the 2 women that I see who head up the department, but because he obviously is more than qualified to do these procedures on me, we've built up that rapport. And yeah, it was just interesting to get that insight today, to find out that I am quite unusual in the recurrence and the speed at which this thing grows, and how it's adapting and changing and trying to fool us all. And we're having the conversations about what happens with, do I have a lung biopsy to look at what these 3 lesions are, and you know, the discussion, which is very it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, or not, that my cancer is chemo resistant, and actually my cancer grows in the face of chemo. It's definitely a 2 fingers up to the chemotherapy regime, so it becomes a very tricky one to know how to handle. But this isn't unusual for my type. My type is very aggressive, and yeah, survival rates are not great. So we've just got to keep on track, keep checking my body, keep listening and, you know, doing what I can, but also trying to live whilst this is all going on, try and still have a life of some form and make plans and have some structure, because otherwise what's the point, you know, if you just spend your time just in hospitals. But luckily they're so lovely that I don't actually mind spending time with them. Don't want to have this biopsy tomorrow though, because it means that they're going to be sticking a needle in a fresh incision line on my right side, sorry, my left side. And so fingers crossed it's a straightforward procedure, and I should get the results tomorrow. So once I know, I will share it. But it's time for bed. I'm tired and I'm feeling haggard. So bye-bye.